Hey guys, so it's a new Q&A, um, and it's been I think 2 years now since the last one. So, um, for all those who have never seen me before, I hope you're not disappointed or something. Um, and for those who don't know yet, but I say it in every video by now, I am super nervous on camera. I think my voice might even be shaking a bit. Um, that's why. That's another reason, by the way, why I never had a band. It's already something I can answer because I am terrible in I have social anxiety and I'm just I'm also terrible on camera. It's for me it's kind of connected actually. It's weird. Like I don't see anybody, but just the awareness that there are a lot of people who will see it is really difficult. Anyway, we should just get into it because otherwise I'll just keep rambling about that. um, okay, so I got a lot of questions, and um, I don't know whether this will be too long, but we'll see, I guess. Uh, I'll also try to not answer too long answers. So, okay, the first question is something that a lot of people have asked, actually, and it's just how are you and Karina? And um, and also a lot of people ask this because they actually know that we both have depression. So I want to talk a little bit about that. We are fine. We're doing fine, and um, but the depression stuff is is always there. It's something that has waves of up and down, but it doesn't actually ever disappear, especially for her. I would say she has it way more than me, and her depression is actually like a chronic depression. It's also purely chemical. She doesn't have the serotonin output in her brain, so she just needs medication for that. There's no other way to do this, and it's she has like a deep depression since childhood, and that's super difficult to deal with for her because you know she can have super happy times, but the depression part, even in the happy times, is just like a cloud over everything. But we're doing okay. We're doing okay, and we take very good care of each other, and that's super important. Um, you need someone that you can talk to. That's another thing that I want to say, because I know a lot of people have depression, and I also a big part of why I share such personal things about myself is that I I don't think you hear it often in such a private way of someone who has a lot of reach maybe, and I wanna first of all I wanna make other people feel understood, and another thing to also maybe be able to help a little bit. Um, there are a lot of people out there with depression, and you're not alone in this. And as I said, the number one thing that you need is you need to have someone to talk to, and um, that is extremely important because I would actually say it saved both our lives, Karina and mine, that we found each other, that we can relate to each other and be close to each other. That was extremely important for us to simply survive, actually. Anyway. Um, right now, there is another reason why it's hard, and that is especially for Karina because her dad got cancer. Um, we found out a few months ago, and it's very hard to deal with that. And the survivability chance is like right in the middle, 50-50. So it's a super uncertain time right now, that with a lot of fear and worries. And so getting through that when you already have severe depression is also hard. Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little about this so that you guys know what's going on, and also, yeah, I just want to be personal, you know. I want to actually tell you how we feel, not to have like a standard answer to that. I don't like that. So yeah. Okay, let's get on with maybe a little bit more positive answers. Someone else wanted to know, actually a couple of questions. What is the name of your country? It's Switzerland. What do you do for a living? Composing is my full-time job, so I can earn my money from that, which is pretty insane, honestly. How old are you? I'm 29 right now. And have you completed your education? No. I am actually a high school dropout, so I never even finished the basic degree of school education. And I do regret it a lot of times. It's just pure luck that I still found like a job that, you know, can sustain me and my wife, because otherwise life would have been super hard otherwise. I know that. And I'm extremely thankful that it didn't end up this way. So yeah, if you think being a high school dropout is cool, it's not. It's seriously not cool. So stay in school, okay? Is Adrian von Ziegler your real name? It's a really cool name, thanks. Yeah, it's my real name. There's actually a Mirko in there as well, because my mom is Croatian, so I'm Swiss, but it's from my dad's side. And that's where the von Ziegler comes from. It's a pretty old name. And my mom, when they named me, they chose Adrian as a normal name, but my mom was it was important for her to also have a second first name that is from Croatia, and so she called me Mirko, which I believe it means the silent one, or like the peaceful one. Mir is, I think, peace and quiet. So I always really liked that. Okay, so next question is, when did you start writing your own music? By the way, there might be some questions that I already answered before, so because I don't have such good oversight over everything anymore. I start writing my own music. I don't know. Because we had a keyboard at home ever since I was little. So I think I made little melodies all through childhood, but like serious songs, like real songs that like anyone could call a song. I guess I started only at like 17. Yeah, like at 17, I would say you could call it music. So yeah, that's how I would define it. How many instruments do you play? So this is a little bit embarrassing because I do not play instruments well, and I know that's something that some people find it hard to believe, when a composer cannot play instruments well, but I am one of those. I can play decently piano, keyboard, decently, and I can play drums, like actually almost any kind of percussion, and also guitar, but I was a lot better in the past especially on guitar, because I rarely play it now since years, since I do so much on the computer with music, so my skill kind of diminished over time. I think it's still there somewhere inside. I would have to really dig it out, kind of, and I haven't done that. I actually did. I actually just like a few days ago, I was visiting an old friend of mine. He's actually my oldest friend. I know him since kindergarten, and we went with him to his band room, and we just played some music. We just jammed a little bit, and I sat on the drums, and I haven't sat on drums since a few years, and I could get into it actually quite fast, and could do something that sounded okay. But then when he handed me the guitar, it was embarrassingly bad. My guitar playing was embarrassingly bad. So that's right now my skill level. So actually, another part, I mean, what's important with that is that if you want to become a composer and you don't have a high skill level in how well you play, it's not necessary. It's really not necessary. You can compose music without being able to play the music that you compose. That is absolutely true. Because I do it all the time. I can, like, most songs that I made, I cannot play. What was the first instrument you ever played? The first one was African drum, and it's a djembe, for those who know it. It's a big drum from Africa. I really loved that. And I was like 5, 6 years old. What was the first song you ever composed? That's a very difficult question because I don't know which is the first melody that you can call a song. So I don't think I can answer that. There is not one song that was the first song. And how old were you when you composed your very first song? Again, it really depends on what you call a song. If it's the first recorded melody with like a real structure, then it's probably like 9, 10. 9, 10 is like the first melody that I recorded, I think. Yeah. Someone asks, are you single? And actually I answered that with talking about Karina, but no, I'm married, so yeah. Since we're actually married since 2015, that's now 4 years, yeah. Have you composed any music in your dreams, and have you ever lost or forgotten a song before you could write it down? Yes, both questions, yes. I have, I dream sometimes of music, and I would say 50-50 chances that I can write some of it down after the dream ends. What really sucks is if that's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I can't sleep the rest of the night because I'm so hyped up on the ideas. And actually there are a few songs that happened like this, and it's some of the most popular songs of mine. Legend is one of them. I composed Legend like this, and if I wouldn't have got out of bed, honestly I don't know where my channel would be now, because that song helped so much reaching people. And have you lost forgotten song before you could write down? Yeah, I have. It's one of the worst things as a composer, I think, that when you have a really good idea but you're somewhere in a shopping mall, or you woke up from a dream with that melody and you have no idea how it went anymore by the time you can sit down and start composing. And yeah, and there are, there's a few cases where you know that the melody that you had in your head was like one of the best you ever had, and then it's gone forever. And yeah, that's that is pretty annoying, I would say. Anyway, could you talk about your creation process? In other words, I'm interested in how you manage time and creativity to get so much work done. For instance, do you have a set block of time daily that you use to create music? Do you outsource anything like mixing, mastering? Any tips for composers who want to get more quality creative works finished would be helpful. I have how I manage it. First of all, I don't manage it well, so I don't think my tips are really good. I do have, I, I just figured out some stuff that just works for me personally to, be more creative, be more calm, have the time and space that I need, and just the right energy. And for me, it's actually early in the morning. Just in the morning, I make time in the morning usually to compose, and if it works and I get into the flow, I can continue the whole day. But if it doesn't work in the morning, I still try later, but by experience now, I can say that if it doesn't work in the morning, it doesn't work for me later either. And I don't outsource anything, so mixing, mastering is all. I do it all myself, but actually I don't do much mixing, mastering at all. And yeah, I honestly I don't know if I have really good tips, because I feel like I'm not doing it really well either. To be really honest, I don't think I'm doing it well. I have days where I can't put down a single note, and then I have days where I make almost an entire song from scratch in one day. So with creativity, a lot of it is totally random. It's totally random. You can try to kind of control yourself and force out something every day, but if you want it to be good quality, there's almost no way that you can force it. You have to just, I don't know. It's really a mystery. And many artists that I've talked to also say the same thing, that no one has ever found a real answer to how to do it, because creativity just is like this. It's somewhere in a cloud. It's like, the little baby angel with the arrow that just shoots you. That's Amo, I think, with love. But with creativity, it's the muse. Yeah, when the muse kisses you, then you can do something. But if she doesn't, then there's almost no point. So, can you tell me what kind of person you are, not only as a componist, but deep inside? I actually chose this question because I feel like if I talk to you guys at all, I want it to be. I want it to be in a way that you actually know me. I want it to be in a way that after you watch the video, you feel like I have been actually honest with you, and you actually know the real me after. And so this is gonna be super personal now, because someone literally asked, "How am I deep inside? Who am I?" By the way, none of this is scripted, so I didn't think about my answer at all before making the video. I think I have a lot of issues, I mean, I have depression, and it's since so many years. I was even actually in an institution in a psychiatry when I was 13, because I was suicidal, and yeah, even back then I was seriously depressed, suicidal, and I had social anxiety very much, and that never left me. The suicidalness is gone. I can actually say that since years now. Actually, since I met Karina, it went away. But depression is something else, and I think that, you know, those mental issues, they don't define a person, but they definitely influence who you are in a lot of ways, because when you're in a dark place, for many, many years in your mind, you start thinking differently about life and the world and stuff and yourself. And with me, it actually had a big impact. And I don't know what the start, like chicken and egg scenario, no, I don't know which was first, but I also have like inferiority, like serious inferiority complex, that I often have the feeling not to be not good enough in just anything, like any topic that comes up, and that also like in music, that's also the case. And another thing that I noticed since many years as well is that whenever I meet a new person, or even someone who I know since a while, I kind of have this fear that, or almost expectations that they will not like me. And I don't know why. I just assume that the person that I am is not likable. And so that's those are some really deep parts of me, obviously. So you can probably tell that this was a bit difficult for me to say. But it's all true, you know, it's me. Who am I deep inside? I'm someone who's not satisfied with the real world, and I had it since childhood that I wished that the world would be different. It's like a weird thought, and I never really know what I want the world to be like, but I just know that I don't like what it is, and that's also why I did escape a lot in the years into fantasy worlds. You know, Lord of the Rings is a good example. I really escaped into that, and that's also a reason why I make my own fantasy world stuff in music and writing and stuff. So yeah, you know what? This answer, I think I answered a lot of it, but if it would be the real answer, it could go on for an hour. So I have to stop. Otherwise, we'll never get to other questions. Okay, so is there any of your music you don't like? Yes. Not quite satisfied how it turned out, but posted it anyway. And this person is someone who draws, and she says that she knows it happens to her as well, that with drawings, and so yeah, it happens. It happens. It happened more in the past than now, because now I'm much more careful with quality. Like some years ago, I made some melodies, and I didn't even really think of it as songs that I want to produce a good quality. I just had melodies in my head, and I wrote them down, and I played around with it, and it was done, and then I posted it, and very often later I would look back and I would be like, ah man, I could have done this a lot better. And now the process is slower and more careful, so it also happens less. But satisfaction level with my music in general is still quite mediocre. I have some songs that I like very much, and I actually also listen to those songs myself sometimes. And other songs, I never listen to them again because I just feel meh about it. It's like, yeah. Then, what are your long-term plans for the future? I want to try to keep this as long as possible, because this is the best possible life I think I could have ever gotten. I can make the music that I want, and I earn enough to live with that. That's amazing, and I want to keep that. And I don't actually want to change anything. At least not soon. I don't want to change my life right now. I really like it. What do you imagine your ideal life to be like? That's yeah, exactly. Just like this. This is my ideal life. I'm married to the best woman I could have ever found in the world. I have an apartment that I love very much, in a little village that I love very much, and in a country with climate and just surroundings that I love very much. And I have the job that I love. And yeah. What was your favorite time in your life? Right now. This is my favorite time in my whole life. Definitely. There is no time before that can compare with this right now. Especially since like 1.5 years since we moved to this village, into this apartment. I love it. Then someone, would you ever try to compose something close to the Greek culture, ancient Greek, etc.? Yes, I wanted to do that since a while, and also ancient Rome. The problem is always, how do I do it? Because I want to do justice to the culture, because I love those two cultures. Ancient Greek and ancient Rome are two of my absolute favorite ancient cultures. And, you know, the sophistication of it demands the music to also be sophisticated enough, and to be well studied and just well produced. And I haven't actually found a way to do that yet, because I could do it in a more folky way, like the more real way, how it would have been back then. And then it would be, you know, back 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, a lot of ways of making music were super similar all around, like Europe, I would say, with similar instruments, and you know, there were a lot of similarities, and it all sounded really I don't know, I'm afraid that it wouldn't sound enough like the actual identity of the culture. And in a weird way, now that we have orchestras and stuff and film music, we can almost draw out the identity of a certain culture more than we could otherwise, with instruments and techniques that actually didn't exist back then. So I have the feeling that if I do an ancient Greek or Roman song, I will actually go the cinematic way and do it like the way Hans Zimmer did it in Gladiator, and not the way that, you know, it would be with a harp and a flute or something. Although those instruments might still be included, but so it, yeah. And as I said, that's just a hard thing to do for, like, yeah. I'm not sure yet how I want to do that. Are you into metal? Because as sure as hell you look like it. Thank you, I guess. I did listen to a lot of metal. Um, I don't listen much anymore, just because I like orchestral and film music so much now. Every once in a while I still enjoy metal though. And I would not say at all that I'm a metalhead. I never defined myself as such, but back in the day, if you would have seen me and what I listen to usually, you could have definitely concluded I am one. And I listen a lot of metal. Yeah, but yeah. Nowadays it's not a genre that I'm particularly into. So, the next question, the next person has a couple of questions. First, is your haircut or hair not cut linked to Celtic or Nordic culture? It actually isn't, because I started growing my hair when I was 13. I actually started growing my hair in the psychiatry while I was in the psychiatry. Um, yeah, fun times. And I I did it back then because I saw the movie Dances with Wolves, and I fell in love with the Native American culture, and not just culture but also the looks. I totally fell in love, and that still didn't leave me. I think it's one of the most beautiful aesthetics on a person that is possible, that has ever been made in history, like ethnic cultures. I think Native Americans, especially from the prairies and Sioux and Lakota and stuff. I think that's actually the same. uh, I'm sorry if it's the same. I'm really sorry. Um, and so I fell in love with that, and I decided to grow my hair like them, actually. But because I don't have a very great chin, then later I started growing a beard as well, and then I looked super metal or something, but it was actually never my intention. Yeah, I just always loved that. Do you have some projects you're working on for the last 10 plus years? I have no project that I work on since 10 or more years, but I have a project that I worked on now since about 6 or 7 years, and that's my book. And that's actually another question that got a lot of upvotes, if I'm still writing my book. And the answer to that is, at the moment, I can't. I honestly, I make so much music right now. I make so much music, and I wanna make that amount of music as long as I have the inspiration for it. So I can't do other things right now, because since the start of this year, I don't know what happened in my brain, but I made more songs since the start of this year, and it's April now, than the entire last year. So I want to keep that going, and I haven't touched my book actually since last December. So honestly, I cannot tell you when it will be done or if it's ever done. It's yeah, cats or dogs. I love both. Um I loved dogs since I was very little. I've always loved dogs, and we had a dog when I was a kid. And I started opening up to cats only in the last, I would say, 4 years, 3 years. And now I would say I love cats as much as I love dogs. I don't have a preference anymore. It's just a very different type of animal and how you interact with them. But I think, um, especially because I am so introverted and I need so much space and quiet and stuff, I can handle cats maybe actually better than dogs, because they give you space and you can give them space and it's all fine. But I also love cuddles and stuff, like really a lot of cuddles. um, and warmth around me and stuff. So I also love the dog part very much. Coffee or tea, definitely coffee. I never drink tea unless I'm sick, and then it's only forced down my throat basically by Karina. Ice or fire? I don't know what I guess ice, but like as an element, I love both elements. But yeah, maybe I'm reading too much into it. Yeah, ice probably speaks more to me a bit. Mountains or forests, that I can literally not answer. That's impossible to answer for me, because they need to get together to make, like, you know, that's I love both of them the most out of any nature. Mushroom pie or fish pie, I actually never ate any of those. Yeah, I have no idea how they are, either of those. I'll have to see. I like mushrooms and fish, so I don't know. What's your favorite color? It's a dark blue. Has been since I don't know how many years, since I was a kid, I guess. This video is 36 minutes long. Anyway, I have a feeling nobody will watch this one, but it's okay. I would like to know if you ever wanted to be a famous enough composer to be able to work, for example, in a big game or a big Hollywood movie, thanks to your music. Thanks to your music, it's so good. Thank you very much for enjoying it. I never wanted to be famous, but no, it's like I want to work on movies and games, but it's not a priority in my life or anything. So, but I guess you can only do that if you are famous, because if you're not famous, nobody's gonna ask you to make a score for a game or movie, and I guess it helps, but it was never my goal or anything. And if someone would ask me to make music for a game or a movie, chances are quite not high, but chances are there that I would do it now. I'm just scared of the stress level and the pressure, because, as I said, my creativity is really jumpy, and I know that working with games and stuff, you have to have you just have to have ideas for music every day, and you just have to get it done, whether you're in the mood or not, and that's pretty, I don't know, for me. But by itself, the collaboration between a game developer and me then trying to come up with themes for the game's environment and stuff, just that part is that would be super exciting, actually. I would love that part. Could you please post Mists of Avalon on Spotify? Yes, I will. That's actually answering this. I put all the music on Spotify eventually, but I only do it when there is a new album that is officially released on Bandcamp, iTunes, and so on. And Mists of Avalon is just not released yet on an album, that's why it's not on Spotify. But it will come for sure. What made you decide to put your music on YouTube? I guess originally. Back then, I actually started my channel to just show my songs to my friends. And that's actually how YouTube was back then. I don't think anyone went on YouTube back in 2009. It was 2009, by the way. Super long ago now. Back then, no one saw YouTube as a business opportunity to, like, oh, I'm gonna make a channel and it will go super famous and then I'm gonna earn money from it, or, you know, sell my product, whether it's songs or whatever. No one did that. And I was one of those. I just, I saw there is a platform where you can upload your songs in video form with a picture, and then you can send the link to your friends and they can listen to it without you having to send the file or anything. And I found that super convenient. And that's what I did, because the first songs that you see on my channel are actually songs that I made in movie score, film score type, for little amateur movies that I made together with my friends back then. And yeah, I composed the music for those little movies and then I uploaded them there. Yeah. Do you watch anime? Some, but I'm not watching much. I actually read much more mangas, and anime I don't watch that much. Because I enjoy the reading part much more than the watching part. Some of my favorite mangas are Blam. It's actually spelled blame with an exclamation mark at the end. And One Punch Man. And animes that I did watch were the original Ghost in the Shell is definitely my favorite, and together with Your Name. Those two I like the most. Yeah. Okay, let's make this the last one, because it's actually a good finisher. Do you intend to continue writing music as long as you live? Yes, I want to make music as long as I live. This is the thing that fulfilled me by far the most ever in my life, and I want to continue as long as I live. Yeah. Okay, this is now 42 or 40 minutes, something like that, and I don't know how to end the video, but I hope if there's even just like one person that's left watching this, that you had fun. And I still have a lot of questions that I found super interesting actually, but they just don't fit, otherwise it would be a 2-hour video, because I answer so long and slow. So I think I will actually make a second video, maybe in a few months, where I just gather the rest of the questions and have another just me talking about stuff that you have to sit through. I really hope it wasn't too boring and that you feel like you know me a little better, because it's actually important to me. I really enjoy that part, and it takes me so much courage to finally sit down and talk that when I do, I want you guys to, have something real for me. That yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna stop it now. Have a wonderful day, and I am super appreciative of you guys, and I hope you will enjoy my music for a long time, and I can promise that I will continue for a long time. So thank you very much for being here.